Lesson 1. Adjectives. Welcome to Lesson 1. In this first lesson, we'll get you started with some basic adjectives that you will hear in everyday conversation, as well as in the other lessons that follow. There is a lot of vocabulary here, so don't be afraid to stop and review whenever you need to. Okay, let's get started. Part A. Vocabulary Building. Section 1. First, we will learn some vocabulary related to public and private life. Public.
Belonging to or having to do with people as a whole. Open to everyone. Many people do not like the thought of using public bathrooms.
Private.
Not known to many people, known to just yourself. A diary is a book most people do not let anyone else read. It contains the thoughts they have written down but would like to keep private.
Political.
Having to do with politics, the science of or actions related to government and people trying to gain and keep control of a government. The government is the ruling body of an area. Her political career ended after her embarrassing comments at the debate. She never became a governor or held any other government office.
Official.
Approved or decided by a governing or ruling group or person. The official rules of the school say you can't go to classes until you pay for them, but we will break the rules for you and let you go to class without paying until later.
Legal.
In agreement with the law. Laws are official rules of a country, state, or other place. The phrase "the law" often refers to the whole system of laws a place has, as in, the law around here says it's not legal to walk your dog without a leash. The opposite of legal is illegal.
Federal.
Having to do with a central government. A law made by the United States government in Washington, D.C. is a federal law.
Valid.
Correct. Able to be used. Your ID is valid for only 1 year.
Local.
Having to do with a city or other small area instead of a larger area, state, or country. From someplace nearby. Why drive for an hour to go shopping when you can walk to the local market?
Foreign.
Different, not familiar, from another country. Foreign cars are often cheaper than cars made in this country.
Individual.
Of one person or thing, single or separate. You each get your own individual textbooks. You don't have to share.
Personal.
Private, belonging to or having to do with you or one individual person. Sue got mad that her mother looked through some of her personal items, like her emails, diary, photographs, and gifts from her friends.
Social.
Having to do with people's relationships and society, meaning human beings living together or connected in some way. Having to do with people's well-being. Poverty is an important social issue that affects many people. When describing a person, social can mean friendly or outgoing, as in, Jed is the most social guy here. He talks with everybody.
Next, let's talk about adjectives that relate to people's feelings, appearance, and personalities. Romantic.
Having to do with being in love, or with loving treatment between people. I really enjoy the story of how your parents met and got married. It is very romantic.
Passionate.
Having a lot of emotion and love for something. When you love your work and are passionate about it, you are sure to succeed.
Pleasant.
Nice to be around, enjoyable. At night, soft, pleasant music helps me to fall asleep.
Polite.
Having good manners, behaving in a way that is socially approved. My mother always told me to be polite when I enter a stranger's house.
Responsible.
Can be trusted. Being someone who makes good decisions. If you want to get a job, it is important that you be a responsible person. Being the cause of something. Being in charge or in command of something for which you must deliver a certain result or explain why you didn't. You are responsible for making sure he doesn't leave. If he leaves, it is your fault.
Realistic.
Having to do with real life or with expected results. I would like to go to the best university in the country, but I am not the best student. My parents say I should be realistic and apply to schools that are easier to get into.
Practical.
Having to do with everyday life or real actions and results. Realistic. Useful. Since we had a lot of food to buy and only a little bit of time, we decided it was more practical to separate and have each person find a couple of items of food on the list.
Hostile.
Having an angry or mean attitude towards something or someone. Treating someone or something like an enemy. Bill seemed very hostile at work. First, he yelled at someone, then he threw his bag on the floor.
Suspicious.
Not to be trusted. The store owner called the police when a suspicious man walked into his store.
The following words can all be used to describe social events like parties. Lively.
Happy and full of energy. It was easy to have fun at the party. Everyone there was so lively.
Elaborate.
With a lot of careful detail, showy or fancy. Her dress was very elaborate, with a lot of lace, bows, and ribbons placed on the dress in a fancy design.
Special.
Being set apart, having some quality different from the rest. This was a special party because Bill was there, and he hadn't been at a family event in years.
Formal.
In agreement with rules and traditions. Being a way of dressing that is fancier than everyday clothing and follows a set of customs. The dinner is very formal. Men should wear a suit and tie.
Casual.
Relaxed, the opposite of formal or informal. On Fridays, people at our office dress in casual clothing like jeans and a t-shirt.
Part B. Break. Let's take a break to talk about a point of English grammar, the order of adjectives. When you want to use more than one adjective to describe something, English has rules about the order that adjectives of certain types should be in. For instance, if you want to use the adjectives blue, big, and old to describe a car, do you know what is the right way to say the phrase? Is it a big old blue car? Or is it an old blue big car? Listen again. Which sounds more correct? A big old blue car or an old blue big car? Think about it. We'll talk about the right answer at the end of this lesson.
Part C. Vocabulary Building, Section 2. Now let's get back to learning new words. These adjectives are often used to describe machines. Designed to.
Planned to. Made with a purpose or reason in mind. My clothes dryer is designed to turn off when the clothing inside of it is dry.
Automatic.
Happening on its own, not something you choose or decide to do. When you splash water at someone's face, that person's automatic reaction is to close his or her eyes. A machine can also be automatic. An automatic machine can perform an action on its own without something else or a person directing that action. My automatic coffee maker is designed to turn on every morning at 8 o'clock.
Electric or electrical.
Needing electricity to work. Even though electric stoves are nice, I prefer to cook on a gas stove.
Electronic.
Related to or using computers or information on computers. Email is short for electronic mail or messages that are sent through computer systems. Made using the ideas of electronics, an area of science. Examples of electronic items include cell phones, computers, and radios.
Efficient.
Working well and quickly at the job that's being done. The best cars to buy are those that are efficient in their use of gas. That is, you should look for a car that drives longer distances with less gas.
The following adjectives are all related to time. Previous.
Happening before, prior, having existed in the past. I need to find a new doctor because my previous one has moved to another town.
Temporary.
Not lasting for a long time or forever. Not permanent. It is uncomfortable to wear braces on your teeth, but it is only temporary. They can usually be taken off in a year or two.
Now let's look at some adjectives that are often used to describe ideas and qualities. Distinct.
Clear, unique, different or separated from other things. The building I live in is distinct from others on the street. It is 10 stories high and painted bright pink.
Defined.
Explained, described, set or fixed. I have very defined responsibilities at home. I know exactly what I have to do. Take out the trash, clean my room, and help with dinner.
Definite.
Exact, having clearly defined boundaries or limits. Sure. There are definite risks involved in skydiving. You could hurt yourself very badly or even die.
Common.
Not special, easily seen or found. It is common for teenagers in high school to get small jobs around here.
Particular.
Selected from a group and distinct from the rest. Bob is looking for a particular style of jacket. It must be long and have a furry collar.
Certain.
Sure, without a doubt. Being a particular instance of something. I don't want to eat at just any Polish restaurant. I am thinking of a certain one that is on Main Street.
Specific.
Related to a single instance or type of something. Glue has one specific use, to hold two or more things together.
General.
Having to do with what is most common, not specific. Eagles, doves, and penguins are examples of the same type of animal. A more general name for them is birds.
Significant.
Large, having meaning or high importance. Being worth noticing. Having the Olympics in our city made a significant difference in the lives of the local people. We got a lot of visitors and business improved.
Vague.
Unclear, not specific or defined. I could tell that Sean had gotten into trouble at school because when I asked him how he was, he gave me vague responses like good and fine.
Abstract.
Not clear or real, having to do with ideas that are not easily understood. Students who take philosophy as a class for the first time often say it is difficult because the ideas are so abstract.
Complicated.
Not simple, difficult, or elaborate. Many problems are less complicated than they seem at first.
Finally, the last list contains words that are just good to know. Colloquial.
Used in everyday or informal speech. You shouldn't use that word at your job. It's too colloquial.
Physical.
Having to do with the body or with something you can touch and feel. Having to do with contact and activity by the body. Rugby is a very physical sport. Players often get jumped on and pushed to the ground or hit very hard.
Random.
Unplanned, not following a pattern. The winner of the prize will be a random person. They will pick a number out of a bowl, and whoever has the matching number wins.
Regular.
Happening over and over again at certain, usual times. Normal, plain. Please order me a regular hamburger, no cheese or anything else.
Typical.
Common in a particular place, during a particular time period, or for a particular group of people. In France, a typical lunch involves bread and cheese.
Possible.
Could happen, but might not happen. Many say that it is possible that life exists on the planet Mars. However, many also say that it is not very likely.
Available.
Being there for use, not occupied doing something else. Carla is mad because she makes time to help others when they ask her, but when she needs help, no one is available.
Original.
Happening first or in a unique way, of the start of something. Yolanda liked the remake of the movie, but she said it was not as good as the original version of it.
Part D. Conclusion. In the break, you were asked which was the correct way to describe a car. Was it a big old blue car or an old blue big car? Do you think the first way sounds better? A big old blue car? If so, you are right. The right order of the adjectives is big, old, blue. In other words, English prefers the adjectives to be in the order of size, age, and then color. Of course, there are many other types of adjectives in English. Some tell you the number of things you are talking about, like many or few. Others tell you what the item is made of, like wooden or plastic. There is a specific order for these adjectives, too. Continue to study this point on your own by discovering what the right order is. Do a search on the internet using the keywords order, adjective, and English.